Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, reaffirms his status as the Commission's chair as it submits hundreds of recommendations for better election management to the National Assembly. A minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says the crisis in the People's Democratic Party is fueled primarily by selfish interest. Discloses how suspended Governor Similaye Fubara visited him with two governors to broker peace. Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. And we will be bringing you up to speed with all the political happenings, which is going to be the crux of the conversation. And we may dovetail into governance issues, touch on as many things as time will allow us to touch on. Because I always try to remind all of us that this is the month of May, 12 days down the line. So whatever question you're asking, ask on the premise of the fact that the government has lasted for 2 years actively. 29th of May is going to be exactly 2 years. There was a Federal Executive Council meeting. Several other things happened today. But two gentlemen will be joining me on the program to look on all sides of the conversation as we look at the polity and the politics. But hey, what you're seeing there, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has actually forwarded 142 recommendations to the National Assembly for consideration after it reviewed the 2023 general elections. The chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, disclosed this on the sidelines of the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by the President, Bola Tinubu, where he swore in two commissioners today. I see him shaking hands with some of them. Professor Yakubu during an interactive session or interview with State House correspondents shortly after the president swore in the two newly appointed commissioners of INEC said as part of efforts to ensure electoral reforms in the country, INEC thoroughly assessed the outcomes of the 2023 polls and came up with far-reaching recommendations. On the speculation surrounding his tenure of office as chairman, Mr. Mahmoud says he's still in charge and dismissed every report that says the president has sacked him.
We have been interfacing with the National Assembly. 2 weeks ago, we had a retreat in Lagos with the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on electoral reform. Thereafter, the National Assembly is going to organize a public hearing, and it's after the public hearing that now a new bill will at the end of the day be submitted to the President for assent. So we're working with the National Assembly on electoral reform. But at this point, I'm not going to give you any more details. You will hear it from the National Assembly whose responsibility it is. But we reviewed the 2023 general elections on our own. We engaged with the stakeholders. We came up with 142 recommendations. Out of these 142 recommendations, 8 require constitutional or electoral act amendment. And we discussed this with members of the National Assembly. So far, so good. We are happy with our discussions with them, and we are also happy with the speed with which they want to proceed so that we'll have some necessary amendments done to the Electoral Act ahead of the 2027 general elections. As far as the law is concerned, and as far as I'm aware, I remain the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and under the Constitution, the Chief Electoral Commissioner of the Federation, and under the Electoral Act, the returning officer for the presidential election.
All right, so in case you're in doubt, he still has his tenure, I think, up to December. So the people that want him out earlier than expected, that's a direct answer from the Commissioner, National Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Let's talk about some things that played out in politics. And a few hours ago, the PDP governors had met with some stakeholders as well as former governors of under the platform of the PDP, including the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who was at that meeting last night. We understand that the BOT is also supposed to meet or have already met. I'm not sure. But Nyesom Wike, the FCT Minister, had his usual media parley earlier today, where he spoke about a range of issues concerning his political party and the fact that interest wrangling is still in some kind of a trouble for them. I know they're having their INEC meeting on the 27th of May. That's 2 days to the formal inauguration of the people that have been in office for at least 2 years. But he also spoke about the issue in River State where it is disclosed that the governor, suspended governor, had visited him with 2 other governors as well. Let's take a listen to some of the things that were said.
I'm calling. I said the president has called for peace severally. And I cannot sit down and one president has called for peace. You said don't want peace. Yes, he came. He came with 2 governors and 1 other person. Unfortunately, the 2 governors are APC governors, unfortunately. So I will not pursue him. And he said, he wants peace. Fine. I want peace. Right?
Okay, heard him say he came with 2 governors. And in his words, unfortunately, those 2 governors are APC governors. So does that suggest anything? Is Fubara planning to move to the APC just like his colleague from Delta State? We don't know. We can't put words or speculate over anything. But those are the words on Yes on Wiki. But we said this last night, but we didn't have the visuals to show you. So let's show you some of the things that happened yesterday when the suspended governor was at an event in honor of Edwin Clark, who will be buried pretty soon, talking about his life and all of that. But he made some remarks talking about his supporters to exhibit restraint in how they defend him in that sense. They should exhibit restraint. And even said, I'm wondering, do you even know whether I'm still interested in continuing as governor of River State? But let me not say what he said. I'm sure some of you may have seen this video, but just watch this.
What I need now, even some of you, have you asked yourself, do you think I am even interested in going back there? I want to ask you, don't you see how better I look? Do you think I'm interested in it? If I have my way, I say it's here. It's an order of God. I don't wish going back there. My spirit has left that place long ago. So all this, I want everybody to focus. Please, it's not everything you do, you think. There's some fights you don't fight. There's some things you don't do because you need to ask the person. Does he want it? I have peace. If you have known me, you've been seeing me, you can say I look better now. In as much as we have things that we need to do for our state, we know people have made sacrifice for us, and we, one way or the other, have to stand by them. Does not mean that we should start firing without any target. We need to be focused.
Okay. Similarly, Fubara, straight from his mouth to your listening ears. This is politics. But hey, we will bring you other stories on our political roundup stories. I'm going to be joined by 2 gentlemen, a former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Kola Logbodino, also the current National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Felix Moka. They are my guests just after this.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has assured stakeholders of the willingness of the House to maintain transparency and accountability in its legislative dealings. The Speaker, while giving the keynote speech at the inaugural National Policy Dialogue on the legislative agenda of the House, promised that the 10th Assembly of the House of Representatives will accept the input of all stakeholders in crafting bills critical to the Nigerian people.
Today's dialogue is part of that promise, serving as a precursor to the upcoming Open Next Week, where we open our doors to scrutiny and present our midterm progress and report card.
The People's Democratic Party appears to be re-strategizing to regain dominance in 2027 as members of the party's Board of Trustees meet in Abuja. The chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees, Mr. Adolphus Wabara, expresses confidence, highlighting that the party will emerge victorious in future elections. Thereafter, the board admitted more former governors and other experienced party members into its fold. 7 governors, former governors, and members of the party's Board of Trustees meet separately in Abuja.
To our new members, I urge you to remember that your presence on the board is not just a position of honor, but a position of responsibility.
In a related development, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, told journalists after about 3 hours closed-door meeting with former governors and selected party leaders in Abuja that the forum has appointed former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki to lead the reconciliation of aggrieved members.
We set up a committee of 7 headed by His Excellency the former Senate President and of course former Governor of Kwara State to meet so that at least quick reconciliation and reach out will be made.
The National Judicial Council is currently investigating allegations of age falsification involving 18 judges in the Imo State Judiciary, following the submission of a report by the investigating committee of the council. The investigation is predicated on a petition filed by the civil society engagement platform, which described the situation as an unprecedented breach of judicial integrity. The group alleged that 18 judges had deliberately manipulated their birth records to either extend their tenure or facilitate judicial appointment. Lastly, the president of Tinubu National Solidarity Movement, Mr. Mohammed Akwashiki, is asking Nigerians to be patient with President Tinubu as his 2 years in office is too short to correct the errors of the President Buhari's government. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the group maintains that President Tinubu is on track to recover what the country lost in the last 8 years.
Within 24 months, to rebuild a country that was totally destroyed as large as Nigeria. I don't know how some Nigerians believe that the magic can be done in 2 years.
Welcome back. Let me bring in my guest joining us from Abuja studios. Mr. Felix Moka is the APC National Publicity Secretary. Also, Mr. Akola Logbodinho is the former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. It's good to see both of you sitting side by side. I think I did a great work in bringing both into it. Mr. Moka and Mr. Logbodinho, thank you for coming on the program.
In violation of the principle of non-disclosure, you didn't disclose, you should disclose fully. But good to see my brother.
It's good to see you both. It's deliberate so that we realize that politics is not war. It's just a conflict of how we perceive on how each side wants to rule the country. PDP said they will do a better job. APC said they are doing a better job at the moment. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Let me start with you, Mr. Moka. I want to start with you because, the heavy lifting is always on the ruling party. You're always on the one that's receiving the heat at all times. But let's start with a conversation I had on Friday with Professor Patu Tomi. I just need to get that out of the way, Mr. Alogbodi, if you allow me. Where in reply to Mr. Professor Patu Tomi, you said he's an intellectual drama king. It's a couple of things. The reason was that on the premise that I said they want to have a coalition to have what they call, I think, shadow government in that sense. And I don't think you were quite comfortable with that statement. You had a 3-pager in terms of your response in the statement. So when I did ask him, I said, what exactly do you mean by a shadow government in this sense? Well, it just says people coming together and giving the government a run for their money in terms of idea for idea, critical of what they are doing in terms of policy direction and putting out option, not like having another government in that sense. I don't know whether you listen and what will be your response, Mr. Moka.
Thank you, Jeff. I listened to my friend, Professor Patu Tomi, and his clarification was in order. But I only just wondered why, in framing the initiative that he announced, why he didn't frame it in the way he described on your show. Sometimes, a name can become an issue when it shouldn't be. As I said in my statement, no one, challenges Patu Tomi's constitutional freedom to engage or to speak or to, get involved in arrangements or initiatives or create mega anything. Nobody, questions that. But when you say in a presidential system of government that as an individual, you are announcing a shadow cabinet, a shadow government, everyone knows, even in the cradle of presidential democracy, that is not a feature that is known to that system. that is more, sort of a feature of the parliamentary system, like you have in the UK. So, my statement was simply saying, Prof, please rethink what you're doing. Because, over the years and through time, you have exercised your freedom to the utmost to speak and engage and, challenge and suggest and propose. No one has ever questioned that, and no one is questioning that now. So, look, I was happy to hear him speak on your show and to make all of the amendments and the explanation that was necessary to, I think, clarify what he meant. And now that he has done so, look, I have no issues with Pat exercising his constitutional liberty to engage as he has always done.
So now that he has done so that you're now clear, given some of the languages you use, do you apologize for some of the things you said?
Apology? For what? I mean, I said nothing. I simply, used Pat's own construction to, critique his announcement. I mean, for example, he likened this government to, Nazi Germany, to Hitler in Nazi Germany. That, I think, was completely unbecoming and unacceptable of a man in his standing. I've known Prof for many years. I have nothing but respect for him. But, he's a human being as well, and people err. And when you err, and people, bring that to your attention, you can usually be humble to accept that which you probably, in hindsight, would not have done. Because I am sure that Pat, in all honesty, I want to grant him that benefit of the doubt, that he didn't mean to compare Nigeria with, a government that conducted, probably the most heinous crime known to humanity ever, under any circumstance. I think that was wrong. And so when he also said that President Tinubu was suppressing dissent, I disagreed vehemently, and I still disagree. Because the very fact that he took the microphone and made the announcement that he made, announcing a shadow government in this country without any repercussion, I think is very eloquent testimony of the fact that our democratic space is robust.
Mr. Amoka, that is also similar in the character of the APC, and I'll tell you why. Before the 2015 presidential election, because we're talking politics, so let's stay in that zone. I had to ask my colleague, Sheon Kimbale, I said, did you do this interview? Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo even said something that I have a lot of respect. Everybody respects Professor Osinbajo, but the things he said, because your national chairman at that time had said, if they are cheated in that sense, let me just use a general word, that they are going to form a parallel government. My colleague asked him, isn't that inciting? Isn't that going to cause anarchy? He said, nothing is inciting, nothing is causing anarchy. I'm trying to remember as well. He said, it's about taking a stand against the government and putting government under pressure on account of electoral injustice. Those were his words, talking about parallel government. So, is there anything strange in what Professor Pat has said that the APC, for instance, has not said, given this premise?
Geoff, everything is strange and different from what Professor Pat Utomi said. Now, Professor Utomi did not express an opinion of his interest or desire to, announce a parallel government. Now, I am not familiar with the quote you just made of, the individual you refer to as the former national chairman. But be that as it may, nobody in APC, to my knowledge, announced a parallel government to any government. You see, so the point I'm making is that Pat Utomi announced a cabinet. He named individuals to a cabinet, according to him, of a shadow government in our country. Please, I don't think they are comparable under any circumstance. And I think that we should, call it out as it is. He has retracted. He has explained. I think that, that's good enough. Prophet Pat Utomi may go ahead and enjoy the fullness of his democratic freedom to speak, to engage, to organize, to form mega arrangements. By the way, those mega arrangements he has formed and championed over the years, I don't know which one has ever materialized.
Well, there you go again. Let me take it to Mr. Akola Ologbadiyan. Mr. Akola Ologbadiyan, thank God we're all in the communication business, myself, both of you, all of us, at the end of the day. So the premise of this conversation has to do with intolerance in that sense, or hostility in the extreme to dissenting voice. When you hear this back and forth between Professor Pat Utomi and the spokesperson of the APC and the APC by extension, what do you make of it? You're in the opposition in that sense, and I know some of you have also been talking about it.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. I watch Prof live, and I'm sitting beside my brother here, Felix. Well, I think that I once reacted to Felix' choice of words. And I said that he needs to understand that the political environment is very stable. And as such, we do not deploy words that are strong. We have not even gotten into the political arena. We are not even yet in the political season. And already we are having this challenge. But as you know, the Yoruba people have a way of capturing it. They say that he who kills with a sword will not even allow a cutlass to be taken around him. So, and you know the mechanisms that APC deployed pre-2015. So when they see a semblance of that mechanism coming their way, they come out violently in every word possible to mitigate against it. And I know that Felix is a gentleman by every standard. So I think that he needs to look back and, look at his choice of words and language in the public speaking. That's all.
All right, let me stay with you, Mr. Ologbondiyan. Let's talk about what is playing out. And thank God Mr. Felix is seated by your side, so he can quickly respond. And that argument over what exactly is going on within your political party that, permit me to use the word, even if it sounds like an exaggeration in that sense, more like that a mass defection in that sense to the All Progressives Congress. You people have said APC is coercing, blackmailing. They have said, look, our president is doing well. We're not forcing anybody into our party in that sense. So why are you blaming us for inability of the stability of your party? Why are you putting it on us? So I remember the last time the meeting they held in Ibadan, the governors were there. The governor of Akwa Ibom and the governor of Delta were not there. Not too long after that, the governor of Delta defected to the APC. There's a meeting that held yesterday, Governor Kefas of Taraba, Governor of Akwa Ibom, and I think Governor Doyediri of Bayelsa, permit me, we're not there. At the end of the day, there are speculations as to which governor is moving next. So my question is, do you still believe it's about coercion and about blackmail than the instability in your party that is making these people to think about their next line of interest in terms of political parties?
Geoffrey is a mixed bag. And we cannot locate it and say, oh, it's for this particular reason. It's a combination of factors, just as we have listed them. Yes, we have the issue of coercion. We have the issue of blackmail, telling some governors that, oh, even if you won an election, they will remove you from the Supreme Court. And, INEC will get them to write results. So if you go the other side, well, we will not write for you. All these are in public space. So we identify that as a measure of coercion. And there's no running away from it. We also have the issue of rift within. And you and I have had several engagements on the dissonance within the People's Democratic Party. And you know my position. I have never run away from it. I have never hidden it. That we need to take out Umar Damagum as the acting national chairman and bring somebody or anybody from the appropriate zone that will make the party visible, viable, and redeemed. So that's another side of it. When you take a combination of all these factors, you discover what we have. I also know that some of our leaders are being pursued by agencies of government, and people are looking for means. And you also know, you must also not forget that the former chairman of Felix, the former national chairman of Felix, his brother from the South, told Nigerians that just come over here, we'll forgive all your sins. So people are looking for where sins are forgiven. But you know one thing, Geoffrey, let me tell you this for real. At the end of it all, it's going to be about the Nigerians' position. You may pack all the 36 governors and put them in one boardroom and say they should declare for you. Have you packed the over 200 million Nigerians into the same boardroom? The answer is no. Geoffrey, when President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was campaigning, he told Nigerians that, oh, we will have a mass of Agbado, and that earned him the sobriquet of Agbadorian. Geoffrey, today, to buy a piece of Agbado on the highway, you understand, today, it requires 400 naira. And if you want to enjoy, and you think that, oh, let you add ube here to it, which is a common phenomenon among us Nigerians, you need 500 naira to get 2 to 3 pieces of ube. So to eat agbado now, you are talking about 1,000 naira. And that is the challenge that Nigerians are confronted with. So, I don't know, before we came in here, we were chatting, and he said, oh, we threw them into the political space. I said, no. You people started the campaign now. Look around Abuja. There are billboards everywhere. Nobody has thrown you out. So that's it for me.
Mr. Moka, I'm sure you have a response to some of the things that Mr. Logbodin has said. And the APC has constantly reacted to this coercion in that sense and given their own rebuttal. So what's your immediate reaction to what he said? He has also dovetailed into the issue of the economy and saying that the 2027 election will be more of the APC versus the Nigerian people. What's your immediate reaction before I throw in more questions?
Yes, Geoff. First of all, I'm sure that my brother does not mean a whole lot of what he said. Because, you know, he can't possibly, under any guise, be blaming APC for the utter dysfunction and immobility within the internal ranks of his party, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. He can't possibly be doing that seriously. Because, you know, if I ask him, and in fact, even in his own commentary, my brother did just tell you that he is not, that, you know, he referenced the need for his acting national chairman to, you know, make way for maybe a more appropriate, you know, national chairman. They don't even have a settled national chairman, and certainly don't have a settled national secretary. Even the Supreme Court, in all of its wisdom, could not resolve that question for them. The Supreme Court, you know, sent it back to them to say, look, this is your internal matter to deal with. So a political party, you know, an ancient political party like the PDP, that cannot resolve the question of its chairmanship, of its national secretary, two key critical officers of the party, without whom you cannot possibly engage in any sort of legal or administrative, you know, action as a party. How do you blame the ruling party? And by the way, Geoff, let me just say this quickly. The ruling party anywhere in the world has no democratic duty or obligation to fix the internal problems of an opposition party. It's like asking Donald Trump in the United States to go fix the problems in the Democratic Party.
They are accusing the APC of being responsible for this, the instability. There was an opposition under Muhammadu Buhari, but the opposition was not this fragmented. That this is the skilled work of the president, who is very good at things like this, allegedly. So PDP is struggling.
Let me finish.
Geoffrey.
Mr. Logbodin, let Mr. Moka land. Let Mr. Moka land. You respond, Mr. Logbodin.
That's right. And I'll be calm. Look, Geoff, you see, what you just said is like, you know, bad workmen that blame the tools. How can you say that? What is the evidence of APC interfering in the internal affairs of the PDP? We are not. We're busy building our party. And they should do the same. We're not. And see, in any event, the PDP claims to have superior knowledge of everything. They claim to know better how to fix everything, how to fix the economy, how to fix insecurity, how to fix everything about Nigeria. But the only thing they cannot fix is their own internal affairs. You know, that is just ludicrous. I think we shouldn't push that argument, quite frankly.
All right, Mr. Logbodin, I wanted to respond before we take a break and bring other issues.
No. I just find it strange. But I am not surprised that my brother Felix will sit down here and claim ignorance of an action where he's deeply involved. They are all involved in it. They are enjoying it. One of their ministers came on air on these channels and said, which party are they even going to run on? So they have analogy of what they are doing. They know it, and they are playing it out. Well, if he says that we cannot prove the fact that APC and its government is responsible for the situation in PDP. What about the situation in NNPP? What about the situation in Labour Party? And Geoffrey, you captured it properly by reminding him that even under the almighty Buhari, that the opposition parties were not this fragmented. But Geoffrey, let me tell you something, and through you tell Nigerians, that I want to assure them. You see, the implosion that is coming in the All Progressives Congress, they will not be able to handle it. It's almost here. As we speak, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu brought ACN to APC. Are they united today? They are fragmented. The former president, Muhammadu Buhari, brought the CPC to APC. Are they united today? They are fragmented. So it's going to be a season of implosion. They are talking about PDP today and saying that, oh, governors are leaving. Oh, this one is leaving. Do you know who's going to leave in your party? You don't know. So the bottom line, as I've consistently said at every opportunity, is that at the end of it all, it is Nigerians out there who will shape the 2027. And I'm very confident of that.
All right, gentlemen, I want to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will look at the issue of the economy, which is what interests Nigerians the most. The politicians will do what they have to do. I just remember that I'm not sure why the PDP is always moving to the APC. In 2014, prior to the 2015 election, 5 or 6 PDP governors led by Rotimi Amechi moved to the APC. And then in the last election, Nyesom Wike and his G5 team voted or did not support their own political party. And now, halfway down the line into the administration of Bola Tinubu, one governor is out of the PDP, maybe more to come. What exactly is going on? We'll talk about that. But big question will be on how it affects you and I. The economy, that is what is most important to all of us, in spite of which party is in power. And this gentleman will be responding to the questions. Join us again. Welcome back. We're talking politics, we're talking the economy and everything in between. The state of the nation, primarily. My guest, Felix Moka, is the APC National Publicity Secretary. Also, Kola Logbodi, former PDP National Publicity Secretary. Both gentlemen joining us from Abuja studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the program and for your patience as well. Let me start with you, Mr. Logbodi, on this particular aspect of the economy. I know that the presidency, as well as the APC-led government, that said that they've constantly said this is a temporary pain for a future gain in that sense. And if you look at some of their macroeconomic dashboard, this is look good. They said FX reserve is in excess of what they met. Debt to revenue service, in fact, the IMF 2020 loan has just been cleared, at least the principal has been cleared and everything to the best of what we know. And then they talked about the issue of NEL fund. They also touted the issue of a couple of other issues as well, as some of the gains of this administration, that some of the numbers they are looking at, in essence, is looking good at the macroeconomic level, that it's going to take a bit of time for it to trickle down to you and I. Does that argument still look tenable 2 years down the line, in your view?
Geoffrey, there's also a saying that you cannot preach to a hungry man. A man who's telling you that he's hungry, and you are preaching to him and say, oh, no, don't worry, wait. In 10 years' time, it will be like this. In 20 years' time, it will be like that. You know, the pain for Nigerians is the fact that they were just on their own, staying on their own, managing their respective lives, building themselves, sending their children to school and paying their fees. Then APC came in 2014 or 2015 and declared that, look, we haven't seen anything yet. We are taking you to somewhere. Where we are taking you to, you don't even need to work to feed. You will not need to work before you will eat. You will not labor in any way. We will pay your children's school fees. We will feed your children in schools. And Nigerians fell for it. And since 2015, the situation has moved from bad to worse and from worse to worst. So, if anybody is coming out to tell you now that, oh, based on the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics survey, or based on the money that we are owing to World Bank, or this statistical data, or that statistical. Nigerians are dying on a daily basis. Yes, they will tell you that people die. Every single member will tell you that, yes, what's important, people die. But people are dying of hunger. They are dying of the fact that they cannot afford medication. People are slumming on the street. And you are saying that, oh no, they should wait. That there's one hope somewhere. 2 years down the line. Geoffrey, you remember, I think it was Malpe and I on this platform when this issue of subsidy removal started. And I said the subsidy removal and the Naira exchange is going to cause us and the government heavy pains. And I said no, that all the parties promised that they were going to remove subsidy. And I said, well, the PDP candidate said he's going to face it all. So, and I believe that it is reviewable. I have listened to Mr. President on various occasions saying that it is not reviewable and that it's a temporary pain. Temporary pain in 2 years. On May 29, today is May 12, by 29 of this month, you already have time. In clear conscience, Mr. Moka, in clear conscience, if Asiwaju were to contest a midterm election today, and he doesn't have Professor Yakubu as the INEC chairman, can he win? He cannot. He cannot. And if anybody doubts, they should set up a feedback mechanism for the administration, not a lying one, a real one, to go to the streets of Nigeria and ask about their performance indices. So it's about all of us. It's about the nation. It's about the country. But people will say that a king that reigns in the time of plenty, he has a name, and that name will go into history. The one that reigns in terms of hunger, he also has a name, and that name will also go into history. So all these indices that they are bringing, it does not reflect in the economy of the street. And Geoffrey, you know what the economy of the street is saying. People can't fuel their vehicles. They can't do even two meals a day. On your phone now, if you open your phone for 2 or 3 hours, you know the number of messages you are going to get.
All right,
people who are telling lies.
All right, Mr. Logbodeo, let me let Mr. Moka. Mr. Moka, I'm sure you've heard this answer and this question. I'm sure you're literally tired of answering them, but you have to answer them because the Nigerian people gave your government the job, and when they complain about it. So the most important data on a statistics board, I'm sure you and I watch football, it's not the offside or attempted goal, is the goal scored. And so I guess what Mr. Ologbodiyan is saying, like a reflective of Nigerian people, is the most important thing is how it affects their daily living. All of this good outlook in terms of the macroeconomic data may not be cutting it. It's even dead that if the president was to contest today, he will lose that election. Do you agree?
Jeff, to borrow your analytic frame that you just used, goals during any soccer event or match do not drop from the sky. Goals also are made by the commitment, by the dexterity, and by the collaboration of players who move the ball from one point to the other until they hit the net. Goals don't just fly into the net. People make goals happen, meaning that what this president is doing, which my dear brother and a lot of people on his side are willfully blind to, is that this president is doing what in 16 years they didn't do and could not do. This president is not just about treating the symptoms of an ailing economy. This president is about, completely fixing the roots of our ailing economy. And that is why it appears that to them that, the fruits that they are suggesting to Nigerians, they should be harvesting by now after 2 years. According to them, that the fruits are not being harvested in the quantity that they would like. Jeff, you already in your intro to this question, you said it, and I don't need to repeat all that. Just as we were speaking, the World Bank did issue a report here in Abuja saying that Nigeria's economy has grown the fastest it has grown in over a decade. Now, you see, my dear friend is chuckling. There's no need to chuckle. You see, the problem is that the Nigerian economy is an economy. We're not talking about the economy of a trader. Even the economy of a trader is liable to planning. It's liable to, some kind of projections and calculations that delivers profit at the end of the day. This organization called Channels Television is a methodically run organization. Otherwise, you won't be here after so many years. Look, all I'm saying is that the results of the massive economic reform of this president, the outcomes are already with us. They can only get better here on out. And I think that, men and women, and look, you know what, when we have this conversation, I'm very mindful of what I say. Because, yes, there are Nigerians and many Nigerians who don't quite care what the GDP is saying or what, all of the other things are saying. But see, that's okay. And we understand, and the president is the leader who says and has said numerously that he empathizes with Nigerians and understands what they're going through, but says, this thing we must do. It's like fixing, a structural defect in a building, fixing the structural defects. If you don't do it, you can sleep, make a bed as nice as you can. But you know what? One day when those walls come, crashing down, your made bed will be toast. And this government is saying, we don't want that. We're going to fix it while at the same time delivering massively. This government has already reviewed minimum wage. Yes, I know he will be quick to say, but it doesn't mean much. But the government has reviewed minimum wage. And they are pumping a lot of cash into the hands of those that need it. Students who didn't have access to education because they couldn't pay for it have access to student loan.
Mr.
Mokam,
my apologies.
We can go on and on that.
My apologies. The big challenge is that some of us can see the effort. Whether that effort is moving the needle and whether it's well thought through is the big challenge here. Because the whole idea of this government, if I want to summarize it, is liberalize trade, taper inflation, and all the monetary authority and the fiscal authority coming together to do what they have to do. Now, the shocks are heavy and they are extreme in that sense. So, whether the intervention or some of the stopgap measure that has been put in place to handle some of these shocks and moving the needle is a different kettle of fish. And my answer, like you, if you're honest with me, is that it's not moving the needle. That is why he's saying what he's saying. Don't you agree?
No, Job, I totally disagree with you. You can't say that, possibly. You're telling me that a student, for example, who is getting money to pay his fees, whereas he used to bother his pastors and his uncles throughout the generation of the PDP leadership in this country, you're telling me that that student is worse off today when he can simply fill a form and get money to finance his education? Or are you talking about the farmers? You see, Geoff, when you say that the price of food, for example, is up, yes, by inflationary calculation, it is up. But, Geoff, don't forget that Nigerian farmers are the ones who are getting this extra money. It's not going to Chinese or going to Indians. The Nigerians who are producing our food are making this extra income. So
it will only be fair.
All we are saying is that it's an economy that gives opportunity to everyone to do more, to create value, and to earn more.
Let me allow Mr. Alogbodiyan to comment on this one. Mr. Alogbodiyan, yes. I'm sure you have responses to him. Yes, you have the time now.
My brother, he has taken the entire airspace. You have the floor now. Without even considering me that I have to also say my own.
Go ahead, please. I'll give you the time.
He cannot convince a single Nigerian. Thank you very much, Geoffrey. You see, it's very convenient for APC to come and read out data. Very, very convenient for them. And that's why I spoke about feedback mechanism. Because they don't know what we, the ordinary Nigerians that are out there, they don't know what we are feeling. He's talking about agriculture. Which agriculture? The food basket of the nation, Benue State, and his next door neighbor, brother, Plateau, they have become, a space for body bags. What is his government doing about it? Where is the food being produced? And I said it from in the beginning. I said, corn, maize, one is 400 naira. If you want to enjoy it with ube, pears, as we used to do in time past, you will need another 500 naira. So for you to comfortably eat one corn and ube now, you need between 900 and 1,000 naira. And you are saying that, oh, the money is going to the farmers. The farmers whom insecurity are not allowed to even do the farming. Okay, now, you people came and say, oh, we need to float the naira. Oh, you have to float the naira. Oh, yeah. So what are you selling out now that is generating dollar that you have floated? What? So, you see, I think the President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, well, I should not even advise them, but in the interest of Nigerians, I think they should listen more to Nigerians. It's very important. Because the whole economy thing that they are talking about, oh, they will bring data, oh, they will bring that one, oh, they will say that, oh, we have the best of time. And it's always amusing to people like me when you keep talking about 16 years. 16 years? After 16 years, President Muhammadu Buhari came and did 8 years. And you know, I told you before we started this program, when we said that, oh, we invented everything, that the PDP invented everything. I said, that's why Nigerians gave you the chance. When you came in 2015, I said, you want to change it. 10 years down the line, you haven't changed a singular thing. Even rather, you have imposed more suffering on the lives of Nigerians. You are speaking with glee about, oh, Nigerian students, they are getting a loan, they are doing that. What of feeding? What of food? The mainstay of their lives. Where are they getting it from? Mr. Felix, you must accept the fact. No. Sorry, Geoffrey. Mr. Felix needs to sit here and accept the fact that they have failed this country, APC. You understand? And because we don't have any election before 2027, Nigerians should go and prepare themselves for the 2027 election. Because I pray for every Nigerian that will survive this tremor of governance.
All right, Mr. Moka, as we begin to wind down, I have this document on the Nigeria Development Update, I think put together by the World Bank, a few data here and there. One of the things they wrote is the fact that the federal government in their 2025 budget, some of us saw it even from the beginning, because you need to look at a few things to make your projections. They said the budget is overly ambitious, hence the need to carefully monitor its implementation and correct course if needed. Now, so we're doing deficit in our oil. The oil prices, we're in deficit of $10 because we're looking at 75, we're doing 65 as of today. Since 2023 till now, crude oil, not condensate, crude oil, I don't think we've done more than 1.5, 1.6, and then we're ambitious, hitting about 2-point-something million barrels per day. And this is our biggest cash cow. If you look at our export and import, at the end of the day, what happened is the biggest source of FX for us is still oil, over 80%, whether it's crude and associated petroleum products. Is your government that you speak for thinking of what kind of adjustment they have to do to make Nigerians begin to believe this promise of El Dorado at the end of this implementation of some of this policy? And what could those things be in closing?
Jeff, I don't take your El Dorado reference as, anything other than just, again, trying to create, a standard that no one has ever suggested to you or to Nigerians. Look, what you referenced, there's nothing wrong with a country that is ambitious and has set bold targets for itself. Now, those targets are not set in stone. For example, this government, under this government, we have reached the peak, the highest we've been in our, capacity to export crude oil. Jeff, you know that back-to-back in several quarters now, Nigeria has been enjoying, balance of payment surplus. We've been exporting more than we're importing. Even our non-oil
Mr. Moka, my apologies. You can ask the economists on this. On that one, yes, by fact. Hold on, just a minute, sir. Sorry. By fact, yes. But that doesn't necessarily, it wasn't about productivity, it's about optimization. Simply because of the exchange, that's why that thing played out in that sense. So you can't attribute it to productivity in that sense.
Geoff, Joe, please, don't do that. That's a bit. I don't expect that from you. You can appropriate and reprobate at the same time. You can cherry pick what to you is appropriate to discuss or to factor in as a benchmark in our economy and what is not. Look, you are a journalist, the economist. I'm not an economist and I don't claim to be one. But I think that we should at least defer to a category of information or data set by which we measure progress in our country. You can't. Okay. It doesn't lie on anybody to pick and choose. Please, let me finish what I was saying. Yes, so can go on. Just I'll give you the time. I'm just saying that I'm not disputing the figure. I just gave you the facts behind the figure. But if you reject it, it's fine. It's okay. No. I'm not rejecting it either. But I'm saying that it doesn't take away from the analysis that we're making and that should be made on the point. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And I'm saying that when you take the totality of that, Geoff, listen. The economy is rebounding, and rebounding in, significant measure. That is, been verified by all of those who who are competent to verify that, from the private sector to multilateral agencies to, everyday economists in this country. Now, yes, when my brother speaks about corn and agbado and the price of corn, you see, look, we all are living the reality of, the inflation that set in because of the, dramatic removal of, fuel subsidy and the floating of the naira, which was fixed artificially by us. And that was never going to grow the economy. So those twin, events, Jeff, you are interrupting me, and I don't know how you want me to.
My apologies, because I'm being told my time is almost up. My apologies. Mr. Moka, my sincere apologies because of time. I don't want... I would like this conversation to continue for another 2 hours, but time, my apologies. You understand, I guess. Mr. Alokbadiyan, you have 30 seconds.
That's fine, Joe.
My apologies, sir. Mr. Alokbadiyan.
No, that's
just 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds, please. And 30 seconds, it says. Mr. Alokbadiyan.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. For us, in the People's Democratic Party, I believe that with the last 2 meetings that have been held in the party, we can still give space to see how we come together and how every opposition party can truly unite together and seek the cause of governance in the next election. I think that's what's very important, because our system, our constitution does not allow for independent candidates. So we need a political party.
I must, Mr. Felix Moka, my sincere apologies again. I didn't mean to cut you. So that when I invite you next time, you will come.
No, that's fine.
Mr. Felix Moka,
you have to compensate me.
Yeah, I will. I promise you. I promise you. APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka, as well as former National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Alokbadiyan. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
All right, that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Good night and bye-bye.